Now she said, the group of people who used to carry me came and carried my hodaj onto the back of my camel on which I was riding. So there are some men, their job is to lift it up, put it on the camel to take off. They came and lifted it, she's not inside. Now, the incident that occurs, and you will see how the Prophet ﷺ and his wife and the family of Aisha struggled and they suffered. Why? Because of this mistake right here. That these men, they lifted it up without her inside and they put it on top of the camel. Listen now to how she speaks about them. And imagine if this happened to you. These people caused you all of this problem by accident, but they caused you all of this problem. What will you say about them? What will you think about them? She says, the group of people who used to carry me came and carried my hodaj onto the back of my camel on which I was riding, considering that I was therein. She made first excuse for them. They thought I was inside. At that time, women were light in weight. Second excuse she gave for them. She said, this is not that far later that she's talking about it, but she said at that time, we didn't used to eat very much and women were light. They must not have realized that I was inside. And then she says, and were not fleshy, for they used to eat little bit of food. So those people did not feel the lightness of the hodaj while raising it up, and I was still a young lady. She made a third excuse for them. So you see the attitude of the believer. She's talking about this years later now. She already suffered from all of the agony of the event that occurs after this. This is what triggered it all. But when she talks about them, she doesn't curse them. She doesn't say those fools that they made this mistake and I can't believe what they did to me and my family. And so think about us, when someone will do sometimes small thing to us, we will never forget it. And we will curse them and their family till the day that we die, and we will hold it against them as a grudge. But see the heart of a true believer, how they forgive and how they make excuses. It was an innocent mistake. They didn't do it on purpose. And she came up with a number of excuses for them why she believes perhaps they may have just taken the hodaj without her inside. We see here also she mentions the issue of not eating too much. This is part of the etiquettes of believers, whether men or women, subhanAllah. The Prophet ﷺ says a few small bites of food are enough to keep the son of Adam standing upright. Meaning they're enough to keep a person alive. But if you must, the Prophet ﷺ says if you're going to go more than that, then 1/3 for your food, 1/3 for your drink, and 1/3 you leave room to breathe. Meaning this is your stomach. When you want to eat and fill up, then you don't fill up too much. This is something that maybe many of us, myself included, need to work on, inshallah. Okay, next. She says, they drove away the camel and proceeded. Then I found my necklace after the army had gone. Okay, this hadith, we discussed it in a class, the Heart Therapy with Al-Kawthar Institute by Sheikh Abu Abdus Salam. He mentioned something beautiful. He said, imagine how the believer should be in making excuses for his brother or sister. The Prophet ﷺ made excuses for a camel. So he had a camel named Qaswa, and Qaswa became stubborn and stopped walking. And the people began to sort of curse Qaswa. What is Qaswa stopping and being stubborn and not listening and all of this and talking harshly? The Prophet ﷺ said, don't say bad things about Qaswa. Qaswa is a good camel. The Prophet ﷺ said, she only stopped because the one that is control of her made her stop. So the Prophet ﷺ was there jumping to the defense even of an animal, subhanAllah. So how then we should be with our brothers or sisters or with those human beings who it's very natural for any one of us to make mistakes. And when you want to attack others, remember yourself. How many a time you made mistakes and how many a time you felt good when someone made excuses for you and didn't jump to conclusions or blame you. So they drove away the camel and proceeded. Then I found my necklace after the army had gone. I came to their camp but found nobody therein. So she lost the necklace far away, where she cannot see them, they cannot see her. So when she came back, she's surprised to find the army has already taken off. Okay? I came to their camp but found nobody therein, so I went to the place where I used to stay, thinking that they would miss me and come back in my search. So she sat down where she had been, and she said, they will realize that I'm not inside and they will come back for me. She says, while I was sitting at my place, I felt sleepy and slept. Now I want you to imagine this. She's 15 years old. She's a girl. In the desert of Arabia at that time, it's not a safe place. It's a place of like highway robbers. It's a place where you travel with weapons. And you have to have some men to guard and protect. If you have a caravan, you're afraid you will get robbed and so on. So it's not a safe place. But look at the believer, how she feels confident. Enough that she even fell asleep. She's not afraid. She's not crying and screaming. And what will we do if we are in some journey with our family and they left us at the rest stop at the bathroom? Call 911 or in Malaysia 999, right? You will be very panicked. You will be scared. But Aisha is very calm and collected. She has composure and she's only a young girl. But subhanAllah, this is the way the believer should be, putting their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not overreacting, having this kind of patience and being pleased with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Safwan